Hello, I'm Nash Ravinsky and you're watching TVP World Talks. Latest polls suggest a much closer second round of the Romanian presidential race than previously thought, with Liberal Mayor Nicușor closing in on hard-right contender George Simion. Meanwhile, France's cybersecurity agency has warned against Russian online interference, saying that Romania's elections could be targeted once again. With Romania's democracy at the crossroads, we explore the dynamics of the presidential vote and what could come after. Joining us now is Eusebiu Slavitescu, political analyst, former Romanian diplomat. Hello and welcome to TVP.
Thank you for having me.
So let's begin with the polls. Previously it was thought it would be plain sailing for Mr. Simion. Right now it doesn't seem so clear.
It doesn't. Also, polls in Romania are to be taken with some, some distance. So he started out very well. His only reason to campaign in the past weeks has been riding the wave of this so-called patriot frenzy of Mr. Georgescu, who is now banned. He cannot run for the presidency. So somehow his sole objective was to take those votes. And he somehow succeeded. He's got almost 40% in the first round. That's a big score. Although, if Nicușor, the independent mayor, liberal of Bucharest, just like the mayor of Warsaw, this is pretty funny, identical somehow, he still has a lot of segments that he can take the votes. Where Mr. George Simion, I'm not that sure he can go over the top, to have enough votes to win the vote. In my perspective, he's not gonna get it. Neither, because I saw he was in Poland yesterday. By the way,
I would like to talk about that in a moment, because that's interesting as well. But it's all about the transfer of votes, really. And both of these candidates actually taking votes from previous candidates, because they were not originally supposed to be in this race, at least not from, not where we're coming from, right? Because Mr. Simion, as you said, is trying to woo the supporters of Mr. Georgescu. Nicușor, he's an independent. The pro-government candidate came in third. And now, which parties from the coalition, which has actually been seriously damaged by these results, are going to back him up? The socialists said, we're not going to give anyone our support openly.
It's true, which is very bad. I wonder how our socialists in Romania will explain to their friends socialists in the European Parliament how such a big coalition, and they have the majority in the parliament, they are unable or not willing to say vote for the pro-European candidate. That's another conversation they will have to have. So that's pretty rough. As for Mr. Nicușor, he's gaining some sort of momentum at this moment in Romania, in the social media, over the country, because he has been the mayor of Bucharest, very popular in Bucharest, but not so much wide nation. And right now, the whole question is he able to transfer this popularity from Bucharest across the country?
So he's trying to catch up, right?
Absolutely.
Let's talk about Mr. Georgescu and Mr. Simion, because their platforms were a bit different. What is the relation between them? Could we simply say, well, if someone is actually hunting for votes from Mr. Georgescu's fan base, is he actually representing the same views?
To some extent, yes. To some extent, it's populism, and Mr. George Simion seems to be a very good chameleon, if I can put it that way, in the sense that right now, in the past few weeks, for example, as I said earlier, his whole political campaign was Mr. Georgescu, Mr. Georgescu, Mr. Georgescu. So by definition, that means he fully supports Mr. Georgescu's stances.
Even with the pro-Russian views, Georgescu, very pro-Russian stance.
Not just pro-Russian, fully Russian aligned. Let's be clear about that. And it was funny for me to see Mr. George Simion yesterday here in Poland, next to Mr. Karol
Nawrocki, the presidential candidate,
because last night he was
by the conservative Law and Justice
Party. Because last night he agreed and he promised to participate in a political debate with Mr. Nicușor on TV. He promised. He never showed up. And then we found out he was in Poland, campaigning with Mr. Karol. And by the way, to the Polish looking at us right now, it's pretty funny to see Mr. George Simion, who is a Russian sympathizer, who is fully fully, this is public statements.
And not Kalin Georgescu, is Mr. Simion also pro-Russian, or is he simply anti-Ukrainian? He was actually banned from Ukraine because of what he said and what he's done.
That's exactly true.
Is it the same thing, really?
I think it is. To the moment where, for example, last week in a political campaign, he said he wants to win the presidency, resign, and do the election again so that Mr. Georgescu can be on the list as a candidate, which is absurd.
Did he mean presidential elections, or did he mean a high-ranking government post for Mr. Georgescu?
He said president himself. He wants to also, envisage to put him as a prime minister, which cannot happen because he does not have a majority in the parliament. Anyway, most of these ideas are pretty absurd. And to see Mr. George Simion campaigning in Poland, to see Mr. Carroll was somebody who is pro-Russian sympathizer and also who fully backs somebody who is fully aligned with Russia, it's pretty funny to me, because in Poland this is not something that passes.
Do you think that this is a problem that some parties are facing? They are trying to present this united front of conservative parties, but they are very different. Back during the previous government, which was led by Law and Justice, they provided full backing to Ukraine. But there have been some suggestions from candidates right now from the right side in Poland that Ukraine's membership in the EU, for example, could be conditional upon certain factors. Do you think that the emphasis is shifting towards a more skeptical stance towards Ukraine and Poland as well, from what you've seen?
I see what you mean. If in Romania the huge machine, Russian interference machine, plays somehow into this, pro-Russian sympathizer sort of narratives. In Poland, you can't do that. That would be a political suicide, right? So what do you do in Poland? You use this information to bring about all these narratives against the European Union, against the globalists, against George Soros, against all of these theories that in fact are just crazy theories, because there's nothing real there. So they play on different backgrounds in Romania and Poland. Poland being a more resilient society to disinformation, to be honest. We saw that in November. I mean, we were completely overwhelmed by this huge Russian interference, which now we know for a fact that it was Russian interference. TikTok, they announced, they said it publicly, around 27,000 accounts were used to push up this propaganda. And the
French government agency has confirmed that this was indeed an astroturfing campaign.
Absolutely.
That could be
and
linked to
France
the
knows
Russians.
all too well, because remember in 2017, Russia did the same thing in France with President Macron's campaign in 2017. And it took France a few years to fully establish the direct link between the interference and the Russian state, which we are now trying to do it. We have a lot of proofs in Romania, but this is also, again, an ongoing investigation. But as so far, it's clear for everybody that was the case. Again, it wasn't just the Russian interference, don't get me wrong. There was a cocktail of grievances, as I said many times. But it also helped a lot. There are millions of euros poured in TikTok campaign, social media, all of these, for a candidate who declared zero financial spending on campaign.
And now, Mr. Simion's appearance in Poland has even sparked a reaction from Poland's Prime Minister. We're going to show you tweets right now, because there was a heated exchange between the two officials. Let's take a look at that for a moment.
Russia rejoices. Nawrocki and his pro-Russian Romanian counterpart, George Simion, appear side by side on the same stage 5 days before the presidential elections in Poland and Romania. Everything is clear.
In this photo is Putin's man in Poland. The whole of Europe knows it. Nobody believes your lies and hypocrisy anymore, Donald.
What do you think about these accusations? How would you respond to that?
I would respond by saying it's pretty absurd for everybody understanding a little bit how the world works. Mr. Donald Tusk has been prime minister before. As in his capacity as a prime minister, yes, he met with Mr. Vladimir Putin, just like our former president Klaus Iohannis or Mr. Traian Băsescu, or like any other leader has met, Vladimir Putin through these summits, through these, international meetings. And to use that and to try to paint the color Mr. Donald Tusk, Prime Minister of Poland as pro-Russian, I mean, that's pretty absurd.
And that picture itself apparently is from moments after the Polish government learned of the plane crash where the Polish president died in Smolensk in Russia. But one other thing is like, how would you say does this relate to the current situation, whereby you have Poland's presidency putting more pressure on Russia through sanctions, 2 sanctions packages, one of them already in force, the other one right now being basically hammered out. Can you still say that, without losing your credibility?
Well, it's a bit complicated. Also, I see why George Simion used this tweet, because I saw it last night. Because in Poland, with the election incoming, trying to paint somebody as a pro-Russian, might get you some votes. Because the Polish society, it's, traditionally, historically, through what has been, sort of not pro-Russian.
Everyone is accusing everyone else of being pro-Russian,
exactly.
even though they mostly have no evidence to back that up.
That's the thing. There are no evidence. I mean, to even try to paint Mr. Donald Tusk as a pro-Russian sympathizer, I mean, again, that's absurd. But he's trying everything. I mean, he has been refusing to take part in any political debate. He only did one last week, and he lost it badly. And ever since, he promised this week every single night he will be on TV debating Nicușor. The first day wasn't there. Yesterday he's in Poland. Let's see where it leads him today. But he's not going to come to the political debate. He does not have the intellectual dimension to put up with Mr. Nicușor. That's how I see it. Otherwise, why would you run? I mean, you have a political debate to present your vision, your political vision about Romania, because ultimately politics are about that, right? You have 2 candidates presenting 2 different visions. He said yes, his team, his staff talked to the TV, everything was set up. 1 hour before, he was sitting in the airport flying to Poland.
So it seems that priorities might be rather different there.
Yeah, and also
Eusebiu Slavitescu was our guest today here on TVP World. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Sharing your insight. And I'm Milan Szerowiński. You're watching TVP World. Please stay with us for more latest news and updates.